So with that being said, a little bit about your speaker today. I grew up in Orlando, Florida, and I'm a second generation, or was a second generation hotelier. My dad was a food and beverage director. We were talking about the hospitality industry. My dad got me in at the age of 18. He said, come work one summer in the hotel. And I said, yeah, but I don't want to do that the rest of my life. So just one summer, maybe a few months, and then I want to do other things. And so 20 years later, I was still in the hotel business. I went to school for business administration, and actually had a great career. I worked for some of the most luxurious companies in the world, including Hyatt Hotels, Starwood Hotels, and the last company that I worked for was Ritz-Carlton. I worked in the capacity of sales and marketing director. I led teams of 20, 30 people, and really understood a lot of different things about business, how to run a world-class business, how to really promote a brand, how to market, how to lead a team. Companies like Marriott do it very, very well. And so I do believe that I was very lucky to have a great experience over those 20 years, and I got to visit some really cool places. I worked all over the Caribbean, Aruba, Bahamas, Jamaica, all over the US, and got some really good experience and ate really well. The only thing that I miss is the employee discounts. I do miss that because now when I go to Ritz, I have to pay like any other Joe Schmo, so that's not good. So I learned a lot, and then I was always an avid business reader, always read a lot of books. One day I read a book that changed my trajectory of life, and that's this book here. How many of you have read this book? No one. Okay, I highly recommend, if you're a business person in business, want to be in business, even if you work for someone else and you're a leader in that organization, I highly recommend you read The E-Myth. It's by Michael Gerber. And the reason that this book really changed my life was because he called himself a business coach. And back in 2011, when I read the book, I thought, business coach, what the heck is that? That sounds pretty cool. Michael Gerber goes through his community, and he works with small, medium-sized businesses, and he helps them apply the things that businesses do really well on a bigger scale, but bring it down to the small business, family-type business, and I really like that. And I said, one day in my next life, I want to become a business coach. So I put the book up in a shelf. It's amazing how things work out. I was coming back from a business trip in New York, and I just picked up a magazine, top franchises in the US, and it said number 24 was ActionCoach, world's leading business coaching firm. And I thought, that's interesting, business coaching, that's what Michael Gerber does. So I circled it on the plane, I came back home, and within 2 days I told my wife, this is what I'm going to do the second half of my life. And she was like, whoa, slow down. Are you feeling okay? You have a nice executive salary, perks, you get to travel, stay at the Ritz, and do all this stuff. Do you really want to do that? And within 4 months after I had quit, I had cashed it all in and prepared myself for the second half of my life. That's almost 5 years now. It was the best decision I ever made. Not always easy, not always fun. And in essence, what I'm going to be talking about today and what I talk about in my book are the experiences, what I've learned in the last 5 years growing my own business and coaching others to grow their business. So that's a little bit about me. So who is ActionCoach? ActionCoach is the world's leading business coaching firm. Bless you. We now have offices in 53 countries around the world. We coach about 15,000 businesses. The company is privately owned by my coach. His name is Brad Sugars. He's a multimillionaire, owns several businesses. And our vision as a company is world abundance through business re-education. So we believe that at heart what we are is educators. The reason why most businesses don't succeed or don't grow, it's not because of capital, it's not a lack of customers, it's not a lack of enthusiasm or hard work, it's really lack of education. It's what's really about. So we consider ourselves educators. And like I said, we now entered, we're all over Asia now, and Europe, and Canada, and North America. So we are a global organization. So in essence, what we do is we work with businesses of all sizes, startups all the way to multi-million-dollar businesses in really 4 areas: profitability, employee engagement, strategic planning, and marketing and sales, and everything that falls in that. But in essence, those are the things that we focus on. So what are we here to do today? My purpose today as your coach is really to talk about increasing profitability. We're going to talk about marketing and how to make your marketing actually work and more effective. And I'm going to coach you to take action. And action is really the key to anything in life, because if you come in today, you grab a slice of pizza, make some notes, you learn some cool stuff, but then you go back out there and you don't apply it, what happens? Nothing happens, right? So eat the pizza, but then apply some action afterward. You know, take those things that you wrote down and actually put them into good use. So no failure today. The only failure is the failure to participate. So what you will put in is what you will get out of today's presentation. And what you can expect to get from today is something that we call BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious. It's like the aha moments, okay? So whenever you get an aha moment, what I want you to do is I want you to write that down, because that's the golden nugget there. That's the thing that you need to put into action. So take a lot of notes. And the first thing that I'm going to ask you as your coach is to eliminate these two words. Everybody with passion, what does that say?
I know.
I know. So why is it bad to walk around thinking you know? I know what he's going to say. I know what this is going to. Why is that bad?
Because you might know a way to do something, but you don't know if there's a better way to do that thing that you want to do. And if you keep saying that no, you're not open to other possibilities.
Absolutely. Yes.
You preclude any other important information
Yeah.
coming forward.
You close yourself out.
Sort of like having a wall with a lot of paintings
Yeah.
and having a wall with drawings.
Absolutely. So my challenge to you is not only eliminate these two words from your language, from your mind today, but really for the rest of your life, right? So if you must say something, what you can say instead is, isn't that interesting? Okay, that's a little funny thing that we have at ActionCoach. All right, so to get the most out of your learning, you got to be willing to have some fun. How many of you want to have some fun today?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We'll see about that, by the way. We'll see about that. All right. And to get us started, the first question I want to ask you is, do I have your permission to be your coach for the next 90 minutes? Say yes.
Yes.
All right. That's good, because I don't have a slide that says no. Right? So I'm glad you all said yes, because otherwise we'd be done. All right. So my commitment to you is I want you to really get the concepts that I'm going to share with you today. So whether it's you figure it out while you're here today, or whether we need to schedule a one-to-one afterward and have me work this material through you, doesn't matter. The point is, make sure you get it, make sure that you get the most of it, because the concepts that I'm going to share with you today are powerful. They could revolutionize your business. It's all about you being able to receive it and applying it in your business the way that it relates to your business. Would it be all right if I also share some of the things that I'll be revealing in my book? Is that okay if I share with you some of the things that will be included in the book? Thank you for that. All right, and speaking of the book, I just got these from my publisher, so I'm all excited. I wanted to share it with you today, because it's kind of cool to start seeing, you know, it's one thing to have a book, but it's another thing to actually, now there's a cover, now there's a book order form, right? And I can blame it, the publisher said, oh, just blame it on me. Tell them that we need to start pre-selling books. So I did include pre-order form with the packet that you received, and I'll be talking a little bit about a special offer, but the idea is to pre-order the book now. The book is expected to be in our hands by December of this year, so we're only a few months away, just in time for Christmas and the holidays. All right, so let's talk about marketing. How many of you, just so that I understand who's in the audience here, how many of you are directly involved with the creation of marketing either for your business or someone else's business? Fantastic. So most of you. And you know, it's interesting because even if you didn't raise your hand, some of these concepts could apply just when you market yourself. You know, when you're networking, essentially it's a form of marketing, right? So I think that everyone will be able to get something out of the presentation today. So let's start with marketing. What is marketing? Anybody want to answer that? Just in a very short sentence, what is marketing? Yes?
Raw material to end consumer.
I like that. Okay, that's good. Yes?
Giving knowledge to the potential client about what you offer, your services, your products.
Yeah, so like educating prospects. Yeah, absolutely. Yes?
Promotional techniques to emote response from clients.
Response. You got it. Good job. See, marketing at its core needs to have a response. Because here's the scenario. Let's say you're doing a lot of things. You're doing social media, you're doing email marketing, you got your website, you're networking. But if all of that is not creating a response from the audience in any way, is it really marketing? It's kind of like, you know, if the tree falls down in the forest and no one hears it, did it really make a sound? I don't know. In marketing, not really, right? So marketing, the only purpose of marketing is to create some kind of response. That response can be a phone call to your business. It could be a purchase. It could be just downloading a free white paper. It could be all sorts of things. But you want to make sure at its core that marketing is giving you the responses, the amount of responses that you need and want, and the type of responses that you want. So very, very important. If you forget anything else we talked about here today, just make sure that your marketing is giving you responses. So being a small business owner, one of the things that, when I was with Ritz-Carlton, I managed $1 million business. I had $1 million on my fingertips to spend on sales, marketing, advertising, and public relations on an annual basis, right? So I thought, okay, this is the way the world is. So I start my business, and I'm like, hey, where's that $1 million for marketing and advertising? And it's quite different when you start working on your own business than when it is managing other people's money. I all of a sudden started paying a lot more attention to with what I was doing with the money versus when it's somebody else's money. It's easy to write that check, right? So there are some advantages and disadvantages to marketing a small business or a very large business. One of the advantages is that as a small business, you're able to make quick decisions. Yes, give me just a moment, please. You're able to make quick decisions, okay? And you should take advantage of that because in a big company, you're not always able to do that. So. Take advantage of the fact that you're able to make quick decisions. The marketing is about you, versus when you think of Ford, they don't really advertise the CEO of Ford. They advertise the vehicles, the product itself. But when you're marketing a small business, the marketing should be about you. It should be about building credibility and trust with you as a person. So there's a huge advantage there. And then the third is the ability to reinvent or change direction. So when you're a small business, you can change direction like that versus a bigger organization, good luck trying to reposition the entire company or the entire public relations that's going on. So be mindful of those advantages and use it to your own benefit. So some disadvantage of having a small business is obviously limited resources. So whether it's not having a whole team of people working with you, not having a lot of money to market with, not having a lot of time because you're busy running around doing everything. There's no leverage, right? So again, you're kind of by yourself. There isn't too many people that you can delegate to, so there's no leverage. You can't scale the business up. And also there's no momentum. Most of the time you're starting from scratch. You're starting from zero, right? So there's definitely something to be said about that. So why is it that most small businesses never really develop consistent, effective marketing campaigns, right? We are living in the era that has the most options, the most tools ever in the existence of humankind, human beings. Have we ever had so many resources, so many ways to market? In the old days, it was just like telling the neighbor over the picket fence, like, hey, I just opened up a restaurant. That's it. Then it was like, billboards and advertising. Then it was like print. But now we have an endless amount of tools. So here's what's interesting is we have more tools as human beings to market our business with, yet most marketing now is less effective than ever in the history of time. Okay, so that's what we're really going to explore today. So what I believe the reason for that to be is because people focus on how the tool works instead of understanding how marketing works. And I'll give you an example. Constant contact. I'm a huge fan of Constant Contact. I was talking to someone about it right before the meeting. For $15 a month, you can do email marketing, you can do event marketing, you can do social media, $15 a month. It's a great buy, it's a great value. What else can you do for $15? But here's the thing, when people sign up for Constant Contact, they spend hours and hours fidgeting around with the templates, playing around, looking to see how the tool works, watching the videos on how the tool works, but never once does anybody watch a video on the psychology of marketing. How does marketing actually work, right? So we were talking earlier about Facebook. How does Facebook work? And where do we press? And how does it work? And that's all the mechanics of it. That's great. You need to kind of know that, or you need to find someone who does know that and delegate it to them. But it's really more important to know how marketing works than the tool itself. Part of the reason why people aren't getting enough responses from marketing is not their lack of knowledge on the tool, it's really the lack of knowledge on how marketing works. Okay, does everybody agree and kind of get that? Yeah, okay. Did you have a question?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Just a personal question,
Okay.
if you choose to respond or not. My query is the following. With $1 million at your fingertips, being able to use whatever resources, marketing or otherwise, to reinforce the brand, enroll other people, have people come to the Ritz, whatever it is. I would like to know your personal response as to, out of that $1 million, what was the most effective vehicles that you use?
Great question. And that comes real quickly to mind, and I think it applies to what, even if we have a small business now, it was always getting in front of customers. That was the best spent money. So I never cut the budget for things like conventions, trade shows, sales calls, anything like that. I never cut that part of the budget because that works. That's never going to get replaced. The old looking at a person straight into the eyes, shaking their hands, giving them a hug. So that was definitely the most effective marketing that we did, and I think it applies in our world as small business entrepreneurs as well.
And 2 and 3?
Oh, we'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So what we're talking about here, when I say understanding how marketing works, what I'm talking about is psychology. Marketing is 80% psychology. Sales is 80% psychology. There's some mechanics to it, but it's mostly psychology. Would everybody agree with that? That there's a lot of psychology involved.